Cluster, where worlds were torn asunder and the death screams of billions echoed through the void. Once thriving, it became a place so consumed by death that it was forever darkened. Weapons of apocalyptic power unleashed their fury, annihilating armies in moments. Cities crumbled, titans fell, and grief became a luxury none could afford. Into this destruction, the Praetorian sent his armies to hold against the War Master. Sanguinius and Jagatai Khan stood in defiance, not for victory, but to delay annihilation. The Garmon Cluster was not conquered, but destroyed in a desperate battle for survival, a struggle that would decide the fate of mankind. While the battles for Nikron City, the Titan Death, and the Great Slaughter are well known, many smaller yet crucial conflicts remain forgotten. Among these lost accounts lies the story of Zeta Garmon 8. Rich in rare minerals essential to the Imperium's war effort, Zeta Garmon 8 was a vital mining and muster world within the Garmon Cluster. Its deep earth mines and towering forge complexes fueled the legions, while its muster fields prepared countless Imperial army regiments for battle. At its heart stood Lux Solis, known more grimly as Deadstone, a vast fortress city and symbol of Imperial might. When the traitors pushed into the Garmon Cluster, Deadstone was among the first to burn, ravaged in the opening strikes of a war that would leave the world shattered. The city's defenders, a steadfast Imperial Fists garrison, bolstered by Imperial Army and Solar Auxilia forces, stood vastly outnumbered as the traitors advanced. Much of the planet's populace welcomed Horus's forces with open arms. Facing annihilation, the defenders sent a desperate plea for aid as the traitors continued their orbital assault on the city. Jagatai Khan received the distress call. Bound for the nearby planet of Dietus, and unable to spare his forces, he amplified the signal and cast it into the void. Loyalist splinter fleets en route to Terra heard the call, altering course from the road to the throne world and plunging into the fires of Zeta Garmon 8. The liberation of Zeta Garmon 8 is a narrative Horus Heresy event hosted by Everyday 30K, bringing together over 60 dedicated players from across the West Coast United States, playing both Age of Darkness and Legions Imperialis, featuring custom narrative missions and secret objectives crafted by the Everyday 30K team. Each game directly shapes the unfolding story, where every victory, loss, and sacrifice helps determine the fate of the conflict. The first battles for Zeta Garmon 8 have begun, and the war-torn streets echo with the clash of bolter fire and the thunder of titans. Battle lines are being drawn in blood as both sides scramble for dominance in this new and vital theater. Loyalist reinforcements arrived in force, rallying the embattled defenders and driving the traitors back. With renewed strength, they pressed the attack. But the traitors answered with a brutal counter-offensive. With grim determination, the traitors entrenched themselves in the shattered city, fortifying every street and strong point. Dreadstone held fast, a defiant redoubt of the War Master's will, unyielding to the Loyalist assault. With the front lines stabilized, traitor command turned inward. Beneath the smoke and chaos of ongoing battles, they quietly redeployed forces west of the city into the ash-choked wastelands. There, they began reactivating the planet's vast refinery networks, processing rare minerals at scale. Among these resources were deposits resembling psychoactive Lorelei crystals, materials long used in the creation of psycho-attuned weapons and arcane instruments. Their strategic value was undeniable, and the Loyalists could not allow them to fall into traitor hands. In response, Loyalist forces began their own westward advance, determined to uncover and halt whatever dark purpose the traitors had set in motion. The second phase of the war proved as bloody as the first. Massive engagements erupted across the desolate wastes. while smaller, brutal skirmishes broke out over key industrial complexes. The traitors were prepared, drawing the loyalists into hard-fought battles on ground of their choosing. Loyalist intelligence soon uncovered a critical threat. The traitors were massing at mining complex Mu Tertius. The site, still fully operational, not only served as a major extraction hub, but also as a central depot for the gathered minerals, now suspected to play a role in a larger, more sinister ritual. Fearing the worst, Loyalist commanders ordered an immediate and full-scale assault on Mu Tertius, committing all available forces in a desperate attempt to stop whatever dark purpose the traitors had set into motion. The Space Wolves led the assault, tearing through the defenders of Mu Tertius with savage precision and overwhelming force. Their fury shattered the outer perimeter, paving the way for the rest of the Loyalist forces to surge into the complex. Brutal close-quarters combat erupted in the tunnels and refineries, every corridor becoming a slaughterhouse. The Loyalists pressed forward, momentum on their side, and for a moment, victory seemed within reach. But they arrived too late. The traitors had already enacted their dark ritual. The psychoactive material was consumed in a blasphemous rite that tore reality apart. A massive warp rift tore open above the complex, spilling demons into the world in a tide of madness and flame. The world descended into chaos. The bulk of the human auxilia fell into mass hysteria, their minds shattered by the horrors of the warp. Gripped by terror and madness, they turned on ally and enemy alike, unleashing a frenzy of violence where order disintegrated and slaughter reigned without purpose or allegiance. Traitor reinforcements, drawn to the raw power of the warp rift, began to converge on Mu Tertius from all directions. Encircled and outnumbered, the Loyalists quickly recognized the planet's fate was sealed. Victory was no longer possible. Only survival remained. Orders were given to abandon the offensive and focus on extraction. Battles raged not for victory, but survival. Extraction zones became slaughter fields as ships braved demon-infested skies to pull back what forces they could. The Loyalists limped back to the Retribution fleet and set course for Terra, burdened by loss and the weight of what they had endured. In time, greater battles would eclipse the horrors of Zeta Garmon 8, and the war fought there. Its sacrifices, its devastation would fade into obscurity, a forgotten chapter in the shadow of the siege to come.